Now we need to find all the zeros of this, given that 2 plus I is a factor. We can do these two ways. First thing we could do is use synthetic division with imaginary numbers. So 2 plus I is what I'm going to divide by. This will give me 1, negative 1, negative 17, 55, and negative 50. I bring down the 1, and I take that times 2 plus I. So I get 2 plus I. Adding these, I'm going to get 1 plus I. Now I have to take 2 plus I times 1 plus I. That will give me 1 plus 3I. And negative 16 plus 3I. Now I have to take 2 plus I times negative 16 plus 3I. I've done that on scratch paper, and I get negative 35 minus 10I. That will give me 20 minus 10I. And when I take that times 2 plus I will get 50. So my remainder is 0, as I suspected. But now, since 2 plus 1 was a root, 2 plus I was a root, then 2 minus I is also a root. So now let's take 2 minus I in, bring down the 1. 1 times 2 minus I is 2 minus I. Subtract 3. 3 times 2 minus I is 6 minus 3I will give me negative 10. 2 minus I times negative 10 will give me negative 20 plus 10I, and that will give me 0. Now I can I have x squared plus 3x minus 10, which does factor into x plus 5 and x minus 2. So x equals negative 5 and x equals 2. All the zeros of this polynomial then would be 2, negative 5, and 2 plus or minus I. So that's 2, 3, 4 roots, and it was x to the 4th. So that's what I expected. Now we're going to do that same problem, but I'm going to do it a different way to give you alternatives. When I find all the zeros, I know that both 2 plus I and 2 minus I are factors, so I'm going to actually multiply those two terms, x minus 2 plus I and x minus 2 minus I, together. Those two factors of this polynomial. That will give me x squared, and then it'll be a negative x times 2. I'll get a negative 2x minus xi and a negative 2x plus xi. So I'll get a negative 4x, and then 2 times 2 is 4. I times negative I is negative I squared, but that becomes a positive 1. So plus 5. That is now a factor of this polynomial. And if I do polynomial long division of x to the 4th minus x cubed minus 17x squared plus 55x minus 50. What do I take times x to get x to the 4th? It would be x squared. So x squared times each of these terms, x to the fourth minus 4x cubed plus 5x squared. Subtract, so change these signs. Do the new signs. The x to the fourths are gone. I will end up with 3x cubed minus 22x squared plus 55x. What do I take times x squared to get 3x cubed? Would be a positive 3x. That will multiply, and I'll get 3x cubed minus 12x squared plus 15x. Change the signs because I'm going to subtract these terms. X cubes are gone. This will give me negative 10x squared. 50x and negative 15x give me plus 40x, and bring down the negative 50. What do I take times x squared to get negative 10x squared? Would be negative 10. So negative 10x squared plus 40x minus 50. And when I change those, subtract or nothing. And now I can factor my x squared plus 3x minus 10 into x plus 5 and x minus 2. So x equals 5 and x equals negative 5 and x equals 2. So my factors again are negative 5, 2, and 2 plus or minus I. This is just two different ways you can go about finding those factors for this one problem.